going through the mind of a coach or a parent when you see this happening in youth sports? We can all imagine what's going through the mind of the child. Imagine what's going through the mind of the child when their sole focus is on play. Sometimes us adults are the biggest obstacles from letting our kids enjoy sports and getting them to play it longer. This is me. Growing up, I would run around the house with a soccer ball at my feet, bouncing it off this wall and that wall, pretending I'm scoring, much to the dismay of my parents and maybe a broken window or two. I love baseball too. I do some of the same things. I go downstairs, throw the ball right off the wall and pretend I'm making these most spectacular catches, because I'm a super serious athlete and all. Growing up, my 5 sisters and I played soccer in the fall. Yeah, I thought that might get a laugh. We played soccer in the fall and winter. We played baseball or softball in the spring, and we golfed, swam, and rode horses in the summer. We played what we were playing when we were playing it, and we were loving it. None of these sports were year-round focus areas for us. Our parents saw the value in having us play different sports during different sports seasons, with each sport getting its focus. They instilled in us that sports matter, kids love them, and it's important to create the conditions to allow kids to love different sports in different sports seasons. There's this myth out there that just because a kid loves one sport that they need to play it year-round. This myth of you need to specialize your kids younger and younger. The only thing that was year-round in our household was my dad worked 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mom organized us and cheered us on, and we were loving the sport we were playing when we were playing it. I was never playing soccer in the summer, I wasn't picking up a bat in the fall, and I certainly wasn't golfing in the winter. I was playing what I was playing when I was playing it, and I was loving every minute of it. In recent years, I've been thinking back to my experiences with sport as a kid, and now in my roles as a teacher, coach, parent, and organizer. I was wondering, when do kids stop playing the game? I mean, we grew up loving sport. And wondering, how do we keep them in the game longer to teach them the valued skills that learning a skill in a sport gives you, and the skills of being, the roles of being part of a team helps with you. Malcolm Gladwell supports a theory that in order to be good at anything, you need 10,000 hours of practice. I've seen coaches, sports specialists, and yes, even some of our parents see this as the need to have them sign them up for drills and, sign them up for training clinics and tournaments year-round to focus on their dribbling, their skating, their running, their batting stance, etc. Really what this does is just specializes a kid to one sport. It leads to overuse injuries, and it eventually, over time, the decrease in motivation to want to even play the sport. Researcher Jessica Fraser Thomas suggests for most kids, this strategy is a bust, meaning it can lead to expert development, but really, what is the cost? How many kids are we losing from a motivation and enjoyment perspective? Huge, huge numbers. As a coach in the elementary school system, I'm realizing now that the kids that are on my court and in my field will be done in 1 to 2 years. Over 70% of them won't be even pick up another racket and playing again. As a coach, this breaks my heart, that 70% statistic. I want kids to love sport as much as I do. Early in my teaching career, I struggled with overcoaching kids. Instead of letting them own the moment, I turned things into a semi-professional league, so to speak. I realized I was part of the group of adults that were doing more to keep kids from playing than from getting them to play. I benched kids. I played some kids more than other kids. and I pinned my worth as a coach on whether or not we won or lost the game rather than their enjoyment and development in the game. This is my boy. He is 6. As parents, my wife and I love watching our kids play sport. But it scares me to think that maybe they only have 5 or 6 years left when they have so much joy when they play it now. These thoughts creep into my mind and going, am I giving my children enough options to feel success? Should they be in skating lessons now? Should they be in swimming lessons now? So-and-so's doing this and this and this with their kid. Should we be doing that with our kids too? Are they being left behind? The thoughts that come through my mind is, reality is no, they're not. If we create the mindset and the drive to enjoy the moment that they're in, they will love any sport that comes up to them. I know where this comes from. It comes from the influx of social media into our life. We know more about a lot more things. This includes what other parents have their kids signed up for. This breeds a feeling of inadequacy in me. And wondering, should we be doing this for our kids too? This quiet competition that I call it rears its ugly head on the sports field when you can overhear parents yelling, run faster, skate faster, get your check, get 'em. Is this really helping kids want to play sport longer? Is this helping with their enjoyment of it? As an adult, I wouldn't want somebody constantly yelling over my shoulder at me to do all of these things. I'm all for competition. I love it. But it seems to me that the competition tends to be more between us parents to do better by our kids than our peers do. We pin our worth as a parent on whether or not we win or lose the game, rather than on their enjoyment and development in the game. So how do the kids feel? Really the most important question. A lot of them feel pressured. They feel afraid. They fear missing practices. They fear being late. They fear being benched. They fear that if they don't do the extras, they will not be good enough. And then they will eventually quit. Their fears mirror our fears. And when we've had enough of something, we just say, we're done. And when it's enough is enough, it's not because they're not really good enough. It's because we haven't created the conditions and the mindset to allow them to enjoy the sport itself. So how do we keep kids in the game? I believe it comes down to 3 things that I'm consistently working on as a parent, teacher, and coach. 1, we must support the multi-sport athlete and let them love different sports in different sports seasons. Wayne Gretzky, baseball in the spring, lacrosse in the summer. Number 2, we must ignore all these outside pressures. It really is a race to nowhere. Only a micro percentage of our kids are going to make it in the pros, and that fact has not changed in decades. And 3, we must nurture their heart and their mind. A mindset that sports are fun, and no matter what happens on the field, Mom and Dad will love you. And how do we do this? It's not as complicated as you might think. It doesn't come from yelling from the stands. It doesn't come from benching kids. It doesn't come from year-round training sessions. It doesn't come from giving kids more and more drills at home and on the practice field. It doesn't come from continuous strategy sessions over and over. It comes from letting kids own the moment. It comes from creating an atmosphere of fun. It comes from letting kids experience a variety of sports across multiple sports seasons. It comes from words of encouragement and a belief in self. It comes from a huddle before, during and after a game. It comes in the walk to the car and the car ride home. It comes in a quiet moment. It comes from your heart. It comes from using encouraging words like these. It comes when you ask a child, "Did you have fun?" and listening to their response. And then after they play, stating to them, "I love watching you play." And then asking them, "Would you like a hot chocolate or a Slurpee?" Let's keep our eyes and our hearts in the future of our schools and communities by nurturing the feeling kids get when they play different sports in different sports seasons. This feeling will drive their passion to play more sports longer because it is fun, and it is fun to be invested in things that you care deeply about. Thank you.